Hey guys, my name is Donald McGuinn and welcome to the Facebook Live video. Let me know if you guys can hear me. And I'll wait for a couple people to join before we get started. Alright, we're just waiting for a couple people here to get started. If you guys can hear me, let me know, please. Just want to make sure everything is good. Awesome. Thanks, Cody. Okay, we'll wait for a couple more people to join. Perfect. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. So you guys can start thinking of a few things that you would want to ask, and I will, like I said, do my best to answer them. And we're going to go ahead and throughout the video we're going to go ahead and build a header and a footer and just run through the options. Yes, Wes, this is live right now. All right. So in your dashboard, once you have X-Pro installed, and we won't go through the installation process because there's a lot of knowledge base out there on Themeco's website that goes through all of that. So once you have X-Pro on your site and validated, you're going to find the header settings, the template settings, the footer, everything underneath of X-Pro and under Launch. So once you click that, you're going to come to a screen where you're going to have all of those options. For right now, we're just going to worry about headers. So I've got a couple of them that I've been working on all week, just so you guys can have something to look at. And I'm not able to rename them yet, so this one says landscaping, but it's really not landscaping. But we're going to start with the login with the slogan. Alright, so basically this is kind of what I'm thinking a lot of people are going to have. A lot of people are doing membership sites now, so of course we'll have a login, the regular navigation inline, your logo, and then a slogan or some kind of sign, some sign of text that you're going to want to have in your header, so people can see your slogan, or if you have maybe a phone number you can put up there, or email, something like that. Rick ice creams. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through the process of building something like this. All right. So we have our top bar right here. This top bar right here is where all of this header is. The one below it is just the gray background, just so you can differentiate between the two. So once we go into the bar, you're going to have containers. And you'll see that my container 1 is the logo and slogan, and my container 2 is the login button and the inline navigation. From there we can go ahead and add our elements that we want, as well as the elements for the container 2. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the headers, and we'll do a blank template. Alright, so we have a blank template. And if you guys have not watched the 2 videos that Corey has released from ThemeCo, I definitely encourage watching those because they explain a lot of the flex and the elements for the header and footer. So we won't be going over that too much about flex and things of that nature. More of just building things, and if you guys have any questions or if you guys want to collab and build a header live, we can just do that. So first we have to add a bar, and then we'll have to add a container. So you can see this bar goes all the way across, and we have this container. It doesn't have anything in it yet. So let's go ahead and add our logo. So we have an image, and you'll see it by a square, a gray square. So we're going to go ahead and inspect that with the magnifying glass, and then from there we can upload an image right here. And from there we're going to upload this one. Okay, so from here you can scale it down or scale it up depending on your settings and how big you actually have your logo. How can I make the shop button a circle instead of a square? Alright, no problem, Dustin. We'll go ahead and get to that. I'll add a shop button to this just so you guys can see that. So we have our bar right there, and we have our container. Alright, so we have our logo, and you can link your logo to your home page. So all you have to do is just add your homepage text right here. Something like that. You can also do an email, or you can do a phone number as well. All right, now that we have our logo, we want to go ahead and add our inline navigation, and we'll go ahead and add a shop button just so we can check that out. So we can either add the inline navigation here, which will push it up against the logo, and then we can always use the space between to space them apart. But we're going to go ahead and add another container, and this container is going to be over to the right, and it's over to the right because we have space between here, and I'll show you what it looks like once we get the navigation. Alright, so we have the navigation here, and we have CR2 containers. They're spaced apart because we have the space between. Now if we had space around, they'd come closer together and have space on the outsides. If we had start, they'd be right next to each other. Center, it'd be in the center, and it would be all the way to the right. But I like space between just because that's basically what you're going to be using for the headers. And like I said, Corey goes through all of this in the 2 videos that they posted in ThemeCo's knowledge base this week. And they're great videos. You guys should definitely watch those. So we have that, and then since we want to add that shop button, well, when we want it next to our inline navigation, we don't want it over here or anything like that. We'll go ahead and add that, and we have a few options for a cart. We could do it as a drop down, we could do it as a modal so it pops up, or we could do it off canvas. So that means it's already off, and then it'll pop up on the side over here. So we'll add those 3 options just so you guys can see the difference. So we'll do a drop down, and right now you do see that it is a circle, and I'm going to change the color of that just so that we can see it a little bit more. Okay, and then we'll change the graphic color. Just so you guys can see that. Okay, so right now it's a circle, and we want to go ahead and make that a square, and we'll go ahead and go to the design setup, and there's all kinds of different options, and the reason it's a circle is because there's already a border radius on it. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that that's a 0, and that will automatically make a square for you instead of a circle. We can also remove the box shadow right there so that it's a flat instead of it popping off of the screen. And to make this match, we're going to go ahead and make it black just so it matches everything. Wes, the inline navigation is linked to your menu, and like Mervin said, you can just select the menu that you want. So inline navigation, you have your assigned menu here, and you don't have to choose primary menu or footer menu. You can choose any of the menus that you create. So it doesn't have to be in the location that you set it in the menu settings in WordPress, but if you create a menu, it'll automatically show up. These 4 do not show up in your WordPress settings, so I don't think they disappear or anything like that. But if I wanted to add another one, I could just do that, and that doesn't have a drop down, just so they can showcase that. But you can basically choose any menu you want for that. I don't have any menus set up for my primary or secondary or my footer, so it just says create a menu, which is a WordPress default. So we'll go ahead and just leave it as a sample. A pattern to the bar's background. Yes, you can. You can add the pattern. And the way we can do that is you just have to be in the bar settings, and instead of just having the background color, if you click on advanced, and then you can go ahead and upload your image here on the lower layer. The upper layer is used for if you have an image in the lower layer and you wanted to do like a transparent overlay, you could do that in the upper layer. So you just go ahead here, and I don't have any patterns. Let me see if I can add a pattern. Let's see. Let's add this pattern. So we have the pattern here, and then all you have to do is for the repeat, just do whatever the pattern calls for. This one calls for both. And then you can do the size and position here. So basically you could do no size and position. I didn't pick the best background pattern for this, but you can see it change there. So you can always have the background pattern there. So this is the size of that single square that I uploaded. And then you can just have your pattern in the background. And then we can always change the top link color. And sorry if I'm doing any pauses. If I pause, it's because I'm trying to read the Facebook comments as they come in. Yes, Donald, you have to create the menu beforehand, but you can always choose the primary location in the header in the settings, and then just assign your menu to the primary menu, and it will just automatically show up. John says, can you make the cart itself larger within the square? So we have the cart, and we'll go to the graphic. So the graphic size right here, we can make that 1.5, and we can make that 2, just to be extremely huge. So yes, John, you can definitely change the size of the graphic. And then also if you want to add a secondary graphic so that when they hover over it, they see that there's like a plus button. They can do that. So that when you hover over it, it changes icons. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this background just because it does not work with the design. Change the top links, text back to white, or black, back to black. Okay, so maybe we wanted to add a little bit more padding, or a little bit more margin between these two items. We can definitely do that. So if you either one, if you click on the navigation inline and you unlink all of them so they don't all change at one time, you can add margin to the side. That way it's a little bit more spaced apart. Let's see. So we can do that. So let's go ahead and, can I change the look of the drop down of the shopping cart? Yes, I can. So let's go ahead and do that. You click on it just so you can see it. And then this has a lot of different options. So you have options for the toggle. You have the setup, so you can make the, that's all the settings for this toggle, all of this. The drop down. So basically you could change the background. So let's change it to be black. And then you can change the font size in it, you could change the width. So if you wanted to be a certain width of the entire screen, then you can do that. Let's try 400. So you can see that. Let's see. You could do a border radius so that it's a circle instead of a square. The box shadow, if you wanted to add more of a box shadow, you can see right here there's a little bit of a box shadow. And you can see it more prominently now. So that changed it just slightly, but sometimes even the smallest change has the biggest effect. So from there, we can go ahead and change the look. So inside of the drop down, we have all of these options. But if you want to start editing the content inside, then that is under the cart. So you can see right here, you have your title. So you could put your cart instead. And we can also change the font size underneath the font size. So we can change that to be 1 or maybe like a 1.25 so that it's there, but it's not too prominent. Let's see. Yes. Yeah, okay. And then also we can go ahead and we have a lot of different options for this. Let's see, what else can we do? I am going to do something real quick. I will be right back. Just because I wanted to get, since we're on the topic of Woo, I wanted to go ahead and show you guys an actual Woo site that I'm working on that I just updated to X-Pro yesterday, and I had no issues at all. And let's see, waiting for the staging site to load. Okay. I'm going to drag this over into the screen. Okay. Let's go ahead and edit this in X-Pro. So the cart is pulling it from a site that I don't have any products on, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it on a different site that I do actually have products on. Yeah, Brad, I will go ahead and definitely show you guys on mobile as well. Okay, so this is going to be a great example of basically everything that we've just been talking about. So we have the cart drop down, and as you can see when you hover over it, it is a square, but I didn't put a background on it for the non-interactive. And then you can see here that we can go ahead and start styling our cart. So we have the items, and the items are each of these white boxes. And I made them white boxes because I wanted to go ahead and, how do I get to the X-Pro screen? Hey Shanti, if you go ahead and go to the beginning of this live video, once it's done, then it will show you how to do that. But basically it's an under X-Pro and then launch. Okay, so if you go to the items section, you have all these options. So like for example, the thumbnail of the product, you can make that bigger or smaller. There's a lot of granular control over everything that you can do in here. You can also hide the button. If you look right here, you'll hide the button to remove the product. And then you can also just do your cart instead of your that. So for the item placement, total placement, and buttons total, you can rearrange how these look. So right now I have the item placement second, the total placement first, and then the button placement last. But if I want all the items first, or the total to be second, and the buttons third, I can do that. You can just rearrange it however you want. And then of course you're gonna have to adjust some of the settings inside of these buttons to Sarah, to go ahead and make it so that there's more margin below this. So we're gonna go ahead and keep it like that for now, because that's how it was styled. And these are actual buttons. So if you click on them, the card buttons right here, you can change those however you see fit. You can change the base font size so they're huge, or you can just keep them normal size. You can change the text, box shadow, the border radius, the background. I mean, there are definitely a lot of options. So you can make them black, and the reason that they look a little weird is because that's the way I have the settings. So if I want them transparent, I can do that. Just like that. Alright, so that's basically what you can do to stylize the different options inside of the drop down for the cart. So let's go ahead and get rid of that, and then I will show you guys the mobile part. So this is something, the layout. So I have my top bar, I have my logo, and I have my navigation. And you can see that as here, top bar, and then you can see I have a social, which is just, a social means just icon. I just use social for icon because it's the easiest. The text for the email, the button. And this button actually links over to the actual My Account right here on the Woo part. And then you can stylize that so when you hover, it does different things and has different actions. So let's go ahead and switch this to a smaller screen size. And the reason, so basically you can control whenever you want the hamburger menu to show up. You don't, there's no set width anymore. Most of the time by now it would have already switched to a hamburger menu, but like I said, you have that control. And then once we switch to this smaller screen size, it automatically, based on our settings, will switch to a mobile hamburger menu, and then as well as here. This is something you definitely want to check mobile before you go live, because there's a lot of different settings that you need to make sure you have right so that it looks correct. So for the top bar, I don't really have any mobile settings set because it just works. For the logo, same thing. I didn't have to do anything basic for that because the image is already scaling. Let's see. And then for the navigation, that's the main thing where you need to do a mobile friendly. So with our navigation, we want everything to be hidden except for your mobile navigation. So we have our inline, we have a navigation collapse, but you can't see it. It says it's in the top right hand corner, but it's not. It's just hidden on a desktop view. And then we have our cart drop down. Once we switch over to a smaller screen, that then pops up. And the way it does it is if you go into your navigation inline and you click customize right here, we want to hide that on certain mobile devices. So if you see, if I uncheck those and go to a small device, it shows up, and we don't want that. Unless you do want that, and there's like a content scrolling option that you can choose, and Corey goes over all that, and the past two videos, which it is a trend that is coming now. Apple does it on their site. Let's see. Yeah, Jason, we're gonna go ahead and we're going over that right now. Um, so you see that that's still there. So I want that to be hidden on those two size devices. But we want our navigation to not show up on desktop. We want it to only show up on mobile. So if we go into the settings there and hit the same customize button, we can see that we have that hidden on the 3 desktop sizes and only showing on the 2 mobile sizes. So that when you click into this middle size right here, it's hidden, but this navigation is showing. The blue means that it's hiding. And the non-checked means that it is going to show on that screen size. So that's how you get your hamburger menu. And once you get that going, and you learn the ability to hide your certain elements inside of the header, that's when the possibilities are endless. So for example, right now I have the cart hidden on mobile, which I'm going to actually customize a way to not hide it and make it still look good. So you could do it like that, so that you have your cart shown, and if for some reason you want to have the ability to search, so we do a search modal, and we can add that as well, so that people can search. And in order to change that, we want the toggle graphic. We don't want it to be a burger. We want that to be a search. So something like that. And I think Corey was showing us a trick yesterday on how to push things over to the right. I wonder if it's just auto. No, that did not work. I'll have to go back and look at that video. But yeah, he showed a way that you can just push this over to the right. And then with this, there's a lot of presets that they include, so you can actually apply any of these presets to any of your elements. So if I wanted to do an integrity one, and that just prompts you that it's going to change things. So you can see that it has a little bit of an interaction on it, so it's kind of like a radar effect. So that when you press the button, it'll go ahead and changes the look of it. So we could do like a renew. We can also change it to icon. Yeah, I don't think I have it center actually, Karen. I think I have it space between, and I think because I have space between for this, or do I? Space. Oh yeah, you're right. Of course, I have space between. I have center, but if I have space between, then that's going to look a little funky. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Mark. It is end. But I think that if I do end, it only does end of that. Yeah, it only does end of that actual element. Yeah, Karen, you're right. UC center. I think that if you want to get more in depth with doing, you can have different bars shown on different sides of the different sizes of the screens. So basically, yeah, I do have center, but if I did space between, I did this container, a lot of people would want that. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. Let's see. Let's change this back so that it is not showing on mobile. Yeah, if I set the container to end, it doesn't do anything. I think it's because I have this set to let's try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, if I do this navigation, I do space between. It's got to be somewhere that I have this set up. Because this just doesn't make any sense now. You can eventually show off how you did the off-canvas menu on mobile as well. So the off-canvas menu, it's just an element. If you go into your, it's called navigation collapsed, and it's just a menu. And it's just an option right there. So if you just add it, you get that off-canvas navigation right there, and then from there we can style it the way we want. Which I will be happy to show you guys. Let me just revert this. Let me just refresh this. It'll just be a lot easier. Okay, so yeah, the navigation collapsed, and from there you could just choose your menu that you want, the design of that menu, and then you have your toggle options. Let's switch back to mobile. So your toggle options. So as you can see, when I hover over it, it is a teal color, which is where this setup comes into play. I have 100 on the radius. So if I didn't want it to be a circle and I wanted it to be a square, we could do that as well. We could do that. We can also make it so it's so that the top is not rounded and the bottom is. So it's kind of like a bullet shape. Like that. Let's see. You can have a border on it. The interactions, which is where you see a couple of the fancy things that they can do. So let's see if we do this 100% and we do this 100%. And we do a 100% radius. You can see that that kind of just floats up from the bottom, which we have that bottom set here. We can change it to center, or we can change this to center. We'll scale them all. It just kind of pops in from the center. So you see that teal, and then you see that black pop up afterwards. With that menu for mobile that appears, you wouldn't need a Superfly plug. No, Richard, you don't need the Superfly plugin to do an off-canvas menu any longer, because Themeco has been so graciously to add that as a native solution. So let's see. Any idea if off-canvas content menu or HTML can be triggered by a non-header content, let's say by an in-content button? So are you trying to say you want this option inside of Cornerstone, Mark? Any idea if the content, if the canvas content can be triggered by a non-header content? So you want something in the header to be triggered by something in Cornerstone, maybe? I think Rick had the similar question about something about having a button pop up in the bottom right here in the left-hand corner after you scroll. For when you click on that button, a magical a magical menu will appear floating on the bottom. Imagine a list of team members. Okay, so you wanted a list of team members to pop up. I don't think that's an option as of yet. At least I haven't run across the configuration. Can you upgrade those sites to X Pro? Utilize the new header and footer editors. I believe so, Paul. You shouldn't have a problem with Visual Composer with X Pro. So you should be alright to upgrade it, but just make sure that you, of course, back up your site and do it on a staging site. Each member gets their own sidebar. Okay, so I understand what you're talking about. Something along the lines of what's done on this site. So where you have the content here, and then it's kind of a sidebar like that, Mark. Is that what you're talking about? If so, this is a plugin that we purchased off of CodeCanyon, and it does, I think, exactly what you want. Let me know otherwise. Okay, yeah. So then, yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, this is just a plugin on CodeCanyon. I think that's the one that we use too, Team Builder. I'll PM me and I'll go ahead and shoot you over the name of the one that we use, or I'll just post it in the comments afterwards. Let's see, what other questions are you guys thinking about for the header? I was figuring you guys would have way more questions than this. Let's see. So maybe we want to go ahead and hide this entire menu on mobile and just have a completely different bar. Login, shopping cart 2. What do you mean, Marvin, when you say login? How did I get that? Was that a BuddyPress element? Are you talking about here, the My Account? If so, this is just a button element in the top bar. You see right here. And I basically just took out all the styling so it looks flat. It looks like it's just text. And I just added the link to my account for the WooCommerce. There's no BuddyPress on this site. It's just a WooCommerce store site. So no BuddyPress or no membership plugin, nothing like that. Just WooCommerce. Back to off-canvas menu on mobile. You can do the same for shopping cart menu too. Yes, you can, Brad. Let me show you what that looks like real quick. So if I go to layout, I go to my navigation, I can do off canvas right here. And when I do that, it pops up the same, and you can style it the exact same way. Style it the exact same way as you can with the drop down or with the modal. What if the user is not logged in? Can you show a register link? If they're not logged in, show a register link. So at that point in time, you're going to have to get into some configuration for if they're logged in or not. And I know there's a bunch of plugins out there that do that. For example, there's a plugin that'll show, see how it says register and log in here? But if I actually log in, and I'm just going blank right now so I can log in real quick. So it said register and log in at the top. Real quick, let's see. Okay, so if we do that, it says register login, and then now it says my account log out. So that's a plugin called I want to say it's BAW, and we can find out here. Yep, BAW login logout menu. That's the one you're going to want for the register link, Mervin. Let's see. Mark, header demo request. Mobilesk header at the bottom of the screen. Are you talking about like kind of like how Facebook has those icons at the bottom? Mark? Karen Team Plugin. I think that's a good free one right there. In your hero template, you have inherit font for the headlines, but can't replicate the same for the rest of my headlines. To match it, it sounds stupid. I feel dumb. What font are you using in that one? I just can't figure it out. I'm not sure what you're asking, Juan. In my hero template, which hero template are you referring to? Brad, you can use that off-canvas menu for shopping cart menu. A shopping cart menu? What do you mean by a shopping cart menu, Brad? Just so that I'm clear on everything. Do you mean something like where if you have off-canvas content and you just add like a widget area maybe? Because you can add this, and you can add, I believe you can add short codes. Let's exit to the dashboard. No, never mind. Let's do this. Let's see. Oh, my comments were not refreshing. Let's see. Perfect, thank you, Mark. Yep. All right, Mark, you were looking for a mobile like Facebook. Okay. For some reason, my comments weren't refreshing, and I was waiting for nothing. So we can do something like that. And I know that Corey did a really good example of that in the video yesterday. Basically, you have to have your inline navigation, because it essentially is a navigation. And I was seeing he needs this to be space between, and this needs to be space between. This needs to be space between as well, and then the navigation. So the thing is here, it needs to be fill space equally. Fill space equally. Yeah, fill space equally for cell flex. So those get distributed equally. Then you want to go ahead and have the navigation inline, fill space equally for cell flex, and then the item flex. You're probably not going to see much of a difference, but you need this to be fill space equally as well. Do you see how that just shifted over just a little bit? So if I go to standard, you'll see that this and this shift over just a little bit. So if I go to fill space equally, you do this. Let's see, and then once you do that, you want to go to your top links, and we need to get rid of the text and add icons. So we'll go ahead and go to the text section and turn that off. And then the graphics, we can turn that on. Let's see. So we have something of this nature right here. And then from there, when you resize, you have something sort of your app layout. Let me know if that's what you were thinking about, Mark. No drop downs, because there's no drop downs on a mobile app like that. Let's see. Is there a list on Themeco's website? So something goes to what plugins we don't need anymore. I guess what I'm saying is what we have to install. So basically with X Pro, I know you don't need Cornerstone. So if you're having issues, make sure Cornerstone is deleted from your X Pro installation. Other than that, I think that Roy was saying that Typekit doesn't need to be installed either. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure. I know that Cornerstone doesn't need to be installed, but I think Typekit doesn't either. So as I'm reading your comment more, yes, uninstall Cornerstone. You don't have to uninstall it before, I don't think, because if you do, that just might mess things up. Either way, I'm guessing. Sticky bar at the bottom of the screen, that means as you scroll. So I built this in a top bar, but you can do the same thing for a bottom bar mark. So see how it sticks there as you scroll? All you have to do is just add the inline navigation and just do everything that we just talked about for that. Yeah, Karen, you think you do for which part? You have to uninstall before or after you install X Pro? Mark, let me know if I answered your question. Did you address how to have the same header appear in mobile? I have a header I created where it appears when I view it on my computer, but when I view it on mobile, it's different. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Yet, if you are using one of the demos or templates that are on ThemeCo, make sure that you delete their mobile part of it, because if you're just editing the desktop version, let's see, for example, if I go to standard left, thanks Mark. So if I just do where they have their standard left, it might look a little different. Like, I know for the footers that this definitely applies to the footers, but if you scroll to their menu, it could look a little bit different than what it does on your desktop. And I know there's a topic in the group that someone had this issue and it got solved when they just go into their containers or their bars and they turn off the customize and then they go into the mobile settings. Let me know if that solves your question yet. Did you show the alternative mobile menu options, the grid burger? No, I didn't. Thanks, Karen. So, for example, you see that this is not like a regular burger menu. This is a more horizontal, as what ThemeCo is calling it. So if I go ahead and I click on that, I have the option in the toggle to, you can do anything you want basically. So if you go to the graphics section, you could do a font awesome icon, you could do an image of your own, or you can do the regular burger, more horizontal, more vertical, or a grid. And you can change any of those options so that if you do a font awesome icon, maybe you're doing like a pizza place and you wanted an icon of a pizza, you can upload a probably a 32 by 32 pixel image of a pizza icon and then do that. I know flaticon.com has a lot of great resources for icons, so you should definitely check out that place. And then like the Font Awesome, they give you all the options that you see, like your buttons and things of that nature. So if you wanted a certain look, you can do that. You can just change it to however you want. So you can definitely have these three options for mobile icons. Once you scroll, you get to a smaller version of the header. Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out for quite some time, Jason. I've been trying to figure that out, and I don't think I figured it out yet. I'm still working on it. I'm thinking that if you add a transition for CSS, because when you scroll, there's an option. Let's see. If you go to your bar and you do sticky bar, see how it sticks? And then there's an option here for target element. And I believe that this is if you add an ID to the bar. No, this is if you have an ID in your CSS. whenever you scroll down, it will go ahead and target that selector inside of your CSS so that you can see all the changes it'll make there. That's one thing that I don't think they did natively, was shrink your logo on scroll. Otherwise, they would have probably put a demo, I think. That's what I would think. Yeah. Sorry, Jason, I don't have an answer for that 100% yet. One, headers, create headers, choose template here. I customize it for my needs and like the heading, font family, inherit. But I can't figure out which one you use so I can apply it to the rest of the page. So the inherit is not an actual font family, other than it's inheriting like a stock font from ThemeCo. And the way you can change your fonts is if you go under templates and you have your fonts, and you can change them all here. So right now they're all Helvetica and Playfair, but you can choose whatever you want and apply it to your body copy. And then from there you go into your headers and you can apply that to your navigation. So if I did top links, text, see right now it's assigned to my headings one, but if I go to body copy, then it automatically applies the one that we just did. And this is for header and builders, not Cornerstone content. Dynamic behavior on scroll capabilities, things you can or can't do, shrink header, scale logo. Brad, can you elaborate more on the dynamic behavior of scroll capabilities? Are you saying that when you scroll on mobile or desktop that the logo shrinks or it gets smaller or something like that? Because if so, I covered that with Jason. And if I'm repeating your questions, you already said I already answered them, I'm sorry. I'm just catching up on all these comments. Nice, and we can call icons that are not font awesome. I think for Mark, calling icons that are not font awesome, assign material design. So let's go over here. Let's go to my header. I think it was this one. So when it comes to the navigation inline for this mobile app layout, I think you have to use that. Nope, you can do an image. So yes, if you upload your own images, Mark, then you can go ahead and do that. And it gives you all the options to do that. And you add the image inside of your WordPress menu settings. Okay, good to know, Karen, that it was a clean upgrade. So uninstall Cornerstone before you upgrade to X Pro. And Karen says that she had a clean upgrade, but like I said, different plugins, different settings, different ways your site can break. So make sure you always back up. Is it a way to copy what you did from the top bar to do for the bottom bar without No, Richard, you cannot do that. There's no way to drag elements between bars or for containers, better yet. So for now, you'll have to repeat the processes. Thanks, Viet. Serious streaming issues. Scott, are you having any issues? Are you still having issues? Let me know if anyone's having issues seeing the stream. This will be available afterwards as well. Beta. If I make 3 bars, can I make one of them stick to the top scroll? Yes, you can. And I think ThemeCo has a demo already for you. So if you go to sticky bars under the create header, so they have a way to do sticky. I'm losing myself. There it is right there. So basically, see how you have this hero bar, you have this container, and you also have one that's hidden until you scroll. So that gets stuck to the top, Hey, look at that. They have a shrinking logo and scroll. I'm gonna have to see if I can break that down and see how they do that. And then one pops up below. And the way that happens is it's a sticky bar, and then they hide it initially, and then they trigger the offset to 150 so that it comes down after. Well, they did that. I'm gonna have to figure out how they did that. Because now I'm interested. There's a shrink on the bar settings. Is that the flex shrink, Karen, on the bar settings? One, the font specifically I'm using for this site, which I don't even know what it is. I'll have to take a look to see what I'm actually using for this site. I want to say it's some kind of script. No, not script. Exit the dashboard. I'll return to you on that one to see if I can find that specific one. I can't somehow click on the yeah, Karen, let me know where you find logo shrink. Real quick, just because I know, Francie Chaos, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, you can use SVG images if you install an SVG plugin. I don't think there's any native way to do it with WordPress right now. Maybe this is it. Show shrinking amount if I do a big shrink amount. Or maybe a little bit shrink amount. Ah, that's how you do that. So there is a way to do it, guys. Karen's right. All right, let me cover a couple of other comments, and then I'll go ahead and then I'll see if I can build the shrinking one. With all the new builds, I had to delete X Pro, and once I upgrade, I see that there's a new version, but the X Pro child theme is version 1. Show that as active as best practice. Still make modifications. So Viet, when you're the child theme version is probably never going to change. I think Themecode only changed it one time, and that's because they did a drastic change with their stacks. But the child theme version should never change. And if you have that activated, you still have to have your X Pro main theme not activated, but installed as well. You can make all your modifications like CSS inside of the child theme. I personally don't. I know a lot of people do, just so they can export easily. I think you're best either. You're fine either way. Karen, let me check Slack. Yep, you're right. So I'll go ahead and cover that. I'll go ahead and cover that in a minute. Navigation dropdown, can I display social icons or search inside the navigation dropdown? So thanks so much. Okay, Jason. I think what you have to do, instead of a dropdown, I don't think there's a way. Let me check. Oh, that's one of those scrolling ones. I don't want that. A drop down. I don't think there's any native way to do that, Jason. Maybe if you add, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not, at least yet. But instead of doing the search inside of the drop down or the off canvas or the drop down navigation, why not include it next to the collapse burger menu and just have it there, kind of like how this login is right here. I think that might be a great way to do it instead of integrating it with the drop down, unless you don't have a lot of room on your header, which in that case, I don't think there's any native way to do it. You might have to make like a short code, do off canvas content area, add your menu as a short code, and then add the search as a short code if you can make those up. Thanks, Cody. Is there a way to auto expand submenus on mobile? Not natively. You're gonna have to do some scripting for that, Paul. Unless you just don't make them submenus. But I don't think there's any native way to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we can do with this shrinking logo. Now I won't build the exact same one as the Fit Farm. Whomever commented on that, Jason. But I'll do something somewhat similar. So we'll go ahead and we'll just create a blank slate. Shrinking logo on scroll. And right now there's no way to export these menus or these header options, but I know Themeco is working on something. So let's add a bar. Something per column container. And let's add my image. Let's go ahead and add the image here. I'm going to do a big image just so we can see what this looks like. And the reason it's looking like that is we have to expand the bar some because it's not high enough. And don't worry, once we get all this done, we're going to shrink this up some kind of good. Make another version of the menu for off canvas only. And yeah, how would you apply the search function, Karen? Sean, it's over here on the left hand side, this little mobile button, kind of like Cornerstone, and then those pop up. So you're all good there, Sean. So let's add a navigation. Okay. We want this to be, let's make this space up around. No, I don't like that. And then let's just make this 1200 pixels, because that's normally what the size is for the standard X that we're used to working on. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so right now we have a standard header. When we scroll, it doesn't stick or shrink. So let's apply the sticky bar on. So right now it sticks, but it's still a little big. So let's go ahead and add this shrink amount. Now 1 means it's going to keep size. You can't go any bigger than 1 because obviously you don't want it to grow. So the more we drag it down, the more it shrinks. Let's see if it works. No. I'll have to figure it out. I don't know. Let's go to I thought it was that simple, but apparently it's not. I don't know, Karen. They want a search icon in the menu when they drop it down. That's what that is. Let's see, did I scaling? Okay, so you have to have this image turned on for scaling, and then once you scroll down, it gets smaller. Jason, I believe you're the one that commented on that. So you can do that. Let's try and apply this to the center one. So this is standard middle. Yep, Brad, image type set to scale. So let's see if we can try and get this, because I know this is what the closest that Jason is going to have. So sticky bar on, and we want this to scale down. So there you go, Jason. That is not staying centered. This container. This image is not centered. Mike, no, it is not possible to change the name of the header after you create it yet. It's still in the works for ThemeCo. Brad, you want to change the text size on scroll? I can see where you want to do that. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can work up. But as far as I know, flex. As far as I know, it's no native way to do that. If you wanted to do without CSS, yeah, Brad, just like you're saying now. But even so, with that thin of a bar up the top, that's not the end of the world. But I can see where you would want to do that. I can definitely see where you would want to do that, Brad. Yeah, Mike, a lot of mine are labeled wrong too, or a copy. If you make a copy of a bar, of a header, then yeah. Thanks, Brad, for that CSS. I like that. Can we use calc? You know what? We could do, well, let's try. Top links. Let's do this. Width and height max. Let's see what this does. Max height of 10 pixels. That doesn't change the actual font size there, so let's try the actual text. I wonder if there's a percentage. No, there's no percentage. Calc. Let's see. Real quick. Can we do a calc? There's no way of like determining what the size of the top bar is, of the bar is. Jason, when you double clicked on a name and you changed it and you saved it and you went back to it, did it keep the name? Because whenever I try and do that, it doesn't work. Let me know. 100%. Yeah, I'm just not thinking. I think calc is for, I don't know how you would keep it the same size on when you're at the top of it, and then how you would shrink it when it scrolls. Maybe you can use the CSS that Brad put and apply that to the text. That might be able to work, and I'll have to see if I can try that later on. Yeah, but I don't think there's any way to specify the vertical height of a specific element that you want to track. Let's see. And I obviously don't know what. Calculate vertical height minus. Yeah. I'd have to check on that just to see if that's something that we can do. Minus 75 vertical height. I have no clue. Yeah. I got no clue. I do not know the answer for that one. You did stump me. Alright, Jason. I'll let you know if I figure it out. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how to do the shrink the text on scroll, but it looks like you're good to go to shrink the logo on scroll. As long as this is a scaling image and this is set to shrink after you turn it on sticky. So right now I've got it set to 0.48, 0.5. It all depends on how small you want that logo. Yeah, I think you would have to specify which XBAR, and if you add a class or an ID to that XBAR, it might be easier to do that. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything on the comments? Karen, I know I'm over my hour, but we don't have to keep this to an hour. If people ask questions, we got this. Just keep them coming. The longer the video, the better, right? Yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions, and I'll definitely try to answer them. Let's cover doing a specific menu. Karen, nothing. Let's cover a specific menu or specific bar or header for just mobile only. So let's say we wanted to do. Let's say we wanted to do this. This might be a situation where you have it. Mobile menu. So we have our top bar, and I'm going to run through this quick because this is something that's already been shown multiple times. So this is just a regular standard menu. Nothing special about it. So there's your regular standard menu. But we don't want this to show on mobile. So we're just going to go ahead and hide this on these two platforms so that if we go to mobile, it's gone here and it's gone here. Okay? But now we want to have the app kind of menu for the bottom. So we'll go ahead and add a bottom bar. And you can see that now, but that's going to go away once we're on desktop. We're just going to use desktop to build it. So we do this, we do our navigation inline, and we want it, maybe we want it to be the same menu, but just no icons. I mean, just icons only. So we'll do the top links, the text, so that the text is off, and we'll turn on graphics. Okay, we'll do no drop downs because we can't do drop downs with that. So keep that in mind when you're building. We want this to be fill space equally. I'm sorry, space between. The container needs to be fill space equally. and the navigation inline needs to be fill space equally here. And for the item flex, you'll see the subtle difference, fill space equally. Okay. So now that's pretty much our mobile bar for when it gets down to a smaller screen. And we're going to hide this on desktops so that when we come here, it pops up down there. So you just have like an app type interface for that. Yeah, Karen, that definitely is important. I'll go over that in just a sec. And for our navigation inline, we could do that, the top links. When we hover over them, we want that to be black. So you can do all that. And we can turn off this side padding over here if we don't want that by just going to the outer spacing and minus in 2. So that way it's 100% across the board. And we're going to go ahead and change the graphics to be black, but white on hover. Something like this. So there's your mobile app interface right there. If you want to always have it, something like Facebook. Facebook, they have this at the bottom. You could do something exactly like that. And just to cover my OCD a little bit, I will pull whatever color this is. People are visual, so let me just go ahead and do that. So there you go. You got that color right there, and boom, there you go. You can keep that drop shadow on the back right there, just so kind of the content scrolls underneath of it, so people can see that, you know, that's on top. So, and then once you get to a bigger screen, you're back to normal. I think that's exactly what Mark is looking to do, and I hope I answered your question about that. And the great thing is, you still have your top bar here, but you also have your bottom bar, but you have to make changes to that on the mobile section, which you're only going to see it on mobile anyway, so that's what you want to see. Brad, are you having an issue seeing the video? If anybody else is, let me know. It looks like we're still good to go. So something like that. That's just a completely different menu on mobile. Mark. Karen was saying, make sure it is important to know exactly what element you're working on, because if you don't, you can't swap menus around or in between containers or anything like that. So make sure that you know which one you're working on. Go over here on the right hand side and go to the bar, container 1, navigation. You can rename these. So you have this as mobile bar, and you can rename them and they will stay. You can also rename your container. So you can do icons. You can't rename the elements because they're the element names. But now you can see that if I'm working on the navigation inline, it says mobile bar, icons, navigation inline. Whereas you think you're working on it, you think you're working on this, so you're making your changes down here, but it's not taking place. It's because you're in the wrong one. Make sure that you're in the right one. So now we're in a bar, container 2, navigation inline. I think that's what Karen was trying to have me explain. It's very easy to get it confused if you're not paying attention. Glad to hear you love it, Mark. I hope that answers your question for that. So while I was in beta for X Pro, and I think actually somebody commented something about that real quick. Hold on. Creating a vertical menu in a footer. Is there a way to set the spacing between items to be line spaced so that you have several menus of different lengths so they all line up? Joe, you might be able to do, and I haven't covered footers. Let's go to footers. Spend all of our time in headers. It's basically the same stuff. So Let's see. We have. So this is actually one of ThemeCode's default prior to X Pro and prior to 5 to have the navigation at the bottom, and then you have your copyright below it. So that's the default, but they have a bunch of different ones that they've provided to us. So let's see, you're looking for, not sure that I'll do it. So Jason, if you visit xthemeusers.com and go to the resources and go under the code snippets, there's actually a short code that we created that you place it in your functions PHP and your child theme, and then you just add the short code year to the footer and it works. Yeah, Jason, the script in the footer doesn't really work. I found that out during the beta, and they know that too. But go ahead and go to xthemeusers.com, and I actually posted it in this inside the group too. So if you just look for copyright in the group, you might be able to find it. Let's see, Corey's video great for lining up footer elements and making the most of the Flexbox. Yeah, Karen's right there. Let's see a vertical menu in a footer. Let's go to columns. No, that's not what I want. Branded. I know it's got a logo and then if Karen's available, do you mind posting that link for the copyright inside of the code snippets, Karen? Okay, let's try this. So they've got this as the mobile, but let's say you wanted it vertical, and that's a navigation inline. We're going to hide this on mobile. Where am I? Navigation inline. Hide on mobile. See? So I just hit something on mobile, but I don't remember. I don't know what it was. That's why I need to remember where I am. All right, so let's do navigation inline. We want this container to be columned. Let's see if that works. Navigation inline, horizontal. We want it to be start, vertical. Space between. I think that you can't do it unless you do it on the sidebar. I think the sidebar is the only one where you can do. Thanks, Karen. I think the sidebar is the only one where you can do a vertical nav. They've got to have some kind of settings where you could just swap it out. Top links. Menu. Horizontal. Oh, there we go. So under the menu settings, you need to switch to column. Let's do no drop downs. You got me, Karen. Okay, so let's make that more visible. Let's make this a different color. Font. Okay. So let's see. Vertical menu in the footer. Spacing between the items. So let's try the spacing. Let's see what this works. So the spacing, no, that's horizontal. Vertical, we want it to be stretched. We want it to be start. Nope. Height. Width and height. Base font size. Text. So do you want to adjust the line height so that maybe one's closer than the other? Yeah, the line height. I like the way that looks on mobile though. Are we thinking height here? Something like that. So we could just do that. Is that what you're looking for? Who was the one that commented that? Joe. Is that what you're looking for? Doing a height like that? Because if so, you can adjust it there. I think you might have it. I think that might be it. Let me know. Let me know if that's it. Let me go back and see if I missed any comments. Richard, so you currently haven't upgraded the X5. I read that once I do that, then I want to upgrade the X Pro. I do have to. So, if you purchased a license for theme for X prior to their release date, then you can upgrade to Pro for free. If you purchase the license after their release date, you have to pay the difference, and I think it's $30. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So you want them to be, so you have 3 columns in your footer, and this is on desktop, so let's switch to a desktop view just to make this more real. Let's switch this to I think something froze. Let me try refreshing this. Yeah, I think using the stretch. So let's try it out. There, obviously something's wrong. So let's go ahead and build one, and then we'll duplicate that column. So we have the column there. And let's go ahead and duplicate this and duplicate that. So now we have 3 menus. Let's change this menu to something shorter and change this one to something shorter. I can only do 2, so I don't have a third different size menu. So let's just do 2 for now. So if we do this, no, that is vertical stretch. And we want this container vertical stretch. That did not work. Let's set let's do what Karen said. I think self flex is for horizontal, not for vertical. Because if I hit fill space equally, that's gonna. So, Joe, are you saying that you want this blog to be at the top, and then this contact to be at the bottom, and this about to be in the middle? Is that what you're asking? What if I set the height? That's already high. It's already height. Are you looking at something like that? We're getting closer. Wait, where'd it go? There's no way to do 100%. Oh wait, no. Well, it's so weird. That's set to 100 pixels. 90 pixels. I guess you can do something like that. Set the flex layout to be column. Yeah, the flex layout is set to be column. It's row for the bar because you want them next to each other. It's a row for the bar because you want them next to each other, but you want the actual navigation to be a column to be stacked on top of each other. I don't know if that's what your content flex layout. That's if you want the icon to be to the left or to the right or on top. Close. Thanks, Donald, for the suggestion. But it is cool to know that you can do that as well. The containers need to set height and flex to stretch and go to 1 or was it 2? The containers need to set height. So, okay, well then let's try that. Let's try the container to be a set height. Do they have a height? I don't know if the containers have a set height. Flex basis. Let's try that. 400 pixels. No, that's width. If it was column though. Okay, so we set it to 400 pixels. Yeah, but that's a max height, not just an actual height. So wouldn't that not work? Vertical space between. Yeah, you got the max height of 300 pixels. Let's try 300, 200. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. I don't. Did Corey even cover footers? I think he just covered headers for right now. Well, you threw a wrench in the system, didn't you? Joe, let's see. Yeah, 3 columns each with a different menu. You want to line each of them up. Other than doing it like this, I have no clue. That is my only thinking of how to do it. So something like that. You're looking for them to be lined up at the top and line. So you just want them to be lined up at the top? You don't care about the bottom being lined up? Well, in that case, it should just be as simple as just doing vertical start. No, you have to do it for the column. not for the actual vertical start. No, maybe not. Column. The container wrap settings. So we're in a container. You've got wrap children. It should. The bottom does not matter, but each menu item should align. Okay. I'm thinking vertical start should work. I don't know why it's not. Unless, hold on, vertical start. What about that? How do you feel about that? And I have no way to get this logo in the social in the middle, but these are lined up. Is this what you're talking about, Joe? And if so, I'll see if I can remember what I did. Oh wait. Let's see. Nice. Okay, so I'm assuming that means you like it. So let's throw an example of what you might be doing. What is this? I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay, so we have your something. Is this what you're looking for? This kind of a look? But you're only doing 3. But so basically the bar needs to be row, and then vertical needs to be start. Otherwise, if you have it set on center, which is the default, it'll go to the center. And then of course end means the end. Stretch just means that they'll, you know, go back to kind of like what the start is. And then each container. This is my settings for the container. Horizontal actually could be a start. I mean center. And then a vertical space around. I don't think these matter. And then each of the inline navigation need to have standard, column, wrap children, doesn't matter. Horizontal center and vertical space around. Let's see if it matters. So horizontal center and start. So you can do something like that to where they all are aligned left instead of aligning in the center. Or you could do align end. Or you could do stretch, which means that they fill up 100% width so that they don't have the different widths like that. You want them to stretch. Yeah, I think Karen, I think that's just because I don't think that has to do with the navigation as much as it does with just like content boxes. But he was talking about something like that yesterday, definitely. So stretch means that they will all be the same width as the biggest one, and then center just means that they're going to be their own width. How's that, Joe? I think that works out for you. That was a good question, because this is going to be a lot of setup for a lot of people, especially on maybe an e-commerce site or something of that nature. So that could work. And of course you could always just do, if you don't want your navigation to be there, you want maybe your logo. So we'll do a logo there. that? Something of this nature. Now we're having fun. And let's do a social. And let's duplicate that. Now getting those to be side by side, you got me. Because if you set this to be a row, then that's going to be a row like that. But what if you wrap children and make this max width be 100%? No, 300 pixels, 200, something of that nature. And then you can just horizontal, you can just start, and that should pop those over to the left. It's not perfect, but it works, I think. And what if we do wrap children for this? Let's see what this one looks like on mobile. Probably looks like a train wreck on mobile. That's not as bad as I thought. Layout of the bar needs to be auto. It's not as bad as I thought. They're probably all being hidden on mobile, but you get it, Joe. Hope that answered your question. Let's see. That covers quite a bit. Also, real quick on the template section over here, the fonts and colors. Basically, the fonts are very duplicated. Okay, so you have your fonts, and let's say you want all of your headings to have a specific font. So let's say we want this to be our heading font. All right, now we want all of our body to be this font. And let's say, for example, you have those two. Once we save that, and we actually go into our theme options, this is where we're going to apply those templates. So from here, we're going to the typography. And if for some reason your stuff is not showing, turn off the font manager and turn it back on. Takes a second. So turn it back on. If for some reason it's not working. So our body font, right now it says inherit. That's not an actual font name. So we want that to be the body font that we chose in the template. So we add that. And as you can see, this changed. And so did these to the ones that we picked. And from there you can change the color. And then whatever weights you picked, they show up as well. For the headings, same thing. We want all the headings to use our headings. And that's right there for you to go. If you wanted to use the body font, I don't know if any of this is going to change. This will change. Here we go. So this is the headings. I have a heading applied to this. That's why it's changing. But if I wanted that to be headings, yeah, that didn't change. But that's basically what the templates do. So that you can choose it here and here. If you turn off the font manager, then you just get your regular one just like before. You could choose whatever one you want. And you got some Sriracha, which is actually a pretty cool font. And then you could do that. The reason this isn't turning red is because this is set to white inside the header manager, inside the header builder. So that's why. so we can choose and apply a font for menu only. Yes. Yes, you can, Karen. So if you do that, you go to your templates and you go to your fonts and you add a new one, and you want this to be your menu font. And I actually did this inside of a site that I think. So we want that to be a menu font. So we save that. We go to our headers. We go to one of our headers that we have. We go to the navigation. And right now this is set to the inherit. We want that to be the menu font that we just chose. And then there you go. You have a font specifically only for your menu. So that way you don't have to worry about any font family CSS applications. It's great. It's a great tool. Same thing with the the colors. You can go ahead and rename these, so you don't have to actually use the ones that they're have as default. So you have the brand secondary. Just changing the name so that you can see that you can change it all. And from there you could just type in your hex or RGB or RGBA and delete ones you don't need. So you have two colors, which I always think you should always have black and white set, so that way you don't always have to type out black or use Hubert to go to 000 or 255 255 255. You can do that, and then once you do that, you just hit save. You go to your headers or you go to your footers. And you want to go over to your nav, and we're just going to use nav for now just because it's simple. We go to your text, and you have your two colors that you chose. You can barely see this one, but it's there. It's just a soft gray. Yes, you can set up a whole palette of colors for each site. Thanks for keeping me on track, Karen. You the bomb. So if we wanted it to be that color, you can somewhat see it, and then when you hover, it's black. So you can do something similar to that. So basically, suggestion is, like Karen said, when you get your job and you set up a site and you install X Pro, go to the templates, go to the font manager, or go to the font and the color manager, and set the colors for that brand. It's so much easier to do, and you can see on this site right here, once it loads, you can see that I have already set it up here. I've got the teal, a white, a black, and a transparent. It's just easy to keep that going. This company doesn't have any other brands, but you can just see how that works. Let's see if I can show you another site that I am working on, just so you can see what's going on with that. This is a photo booth site, and I don't know if I have their color set up or not, because I actually started the site when it was in beta. Thanks, Mark. See you later. But you can see here just some of the different things going on. Now everything up to the top of this reel is built in the header builder. So all of these particles, which we didn't go over, and I'd be more than happy to go over if you guys want to stick around. I don't mind. So this button right here, how it's got these colors. Yes, I do have it set up. So these are her 4 colors. a light blue, white, black, and a darker blue. The darker blue is I'm using for when you hover over things or links of things of that nature. So it's very easy to just have the colors ready on hand. You don't have to worry about it. Groups of colors. I have a client who wants different color palettes on different pages. So you have different color palettes on different pages. So you mean, well, Cornerstone doesn't have the color manager built into it yet. I'm saying yet because I'm hoping that they do. And this site is running the new RC of 0.3, and I'm pretty sure they still don't have the color manager. No, they do not. So different pages have different color groups. Not yet. Are you saying that you want them to only have those options when they're on a specific page, Mark? I mean, yeah, Mark. Sorry. And not have the other options? Or are you saying that have all the options available on all the pages? Because Cornerstone doesn't have it yet. So it's just header and footer builders that have the color manager, which I'm hoping that Cornerstone gets updated with all of these awesome features as well. Yeah, like Karen said, you can add all the colors to the template underneath of templates. Now there's one thing we missed, and it was the particles. And I can go over what I know on the particles and what I've seen been done. So for your top links, you want to have your particles, which they're called interactions. So right now the interactions, the text and the graphic are if you have text here and you want it to do something special. See how they drop? When I click slide top, scale up means that they just grow in, things of that nature. I'm not a big fan of that. If you have graphic enabled on it, you can do the graphic flips or whatever you want to do. I don't have graphics enabled for that. Mark, the color manager has different color palettes that you add to the site, and through the header and builder you can choose which colors you want to use for that element. So for example, you can see that this starts in the middle and spreads out 100% width. So what we have right now is we have the location center, and then I'll change it so you can see what happens. See how it starts at the top? So I have this start at the center of the link. It's inside and not overlap. I don't think overlap will show anything. Yeah, I'll show you overlap in a sec. But Corey also did a great video on this. And scale X means it's just going to go sideways. Scale Y is up and down. So you can have it so that it grows tall, or that so that it grows wide. I'll show you how to do the photo behind the menu. Actually, if you just use the hero template that Themco has, boom, there's your setup right there, which is basically what this is, and I just modified it. So go to your headers. On the sidebar, there's templates. Drop down to hero, add that, and start modifying. And then the transform starts from, so I can transform start from the right. So it starts from the right and moves to the left. But I have it start from the center so that it just kind of grows. I want this to be 100% width of the entire link. I want it to be 20 pixels high, and depending on how high you have that is how high. So if I wanted 30 pixels or 25 pixels, 20 pixels seemed really good for me. The radius, of course, is if you want it to be round, which I am actually liking that. I might keep that. And then here's your color, which you can also see all of your color palettes. So if I wanted to use the dark, I can do that, which I think there's something going on with my color palette because when I choose this, it always chooses black. I'm not sure about that. I might have to have ThemeCode check that out. But you can see here. I think that's a bug. I don't think I'm a fan of the 100%. But that's basically that. So let's say for example you want to do something a little bit different. You want to do let's do this 20 pixels by 20 pixels. So that's a square. We want this to be at the bottom. See, it's at the bottom now. Don't worry about the link cover. That's in a different setting. And we want this to be scale Y, so we want it to pop from the bottom. And we want the transform to start from the bottom. So it just pops up like that, like it's going upwards towards the link. So we want to go ahead and make this 100%, so it's a circle. Which you can also just use 20 pixels, however big your width and height is. I always just use 100 just to make it easier. See how it's a circle below it and it's flipping up? This is what the inside and overlap is. The overlap means that it's just going to cut it in half and move it down so that it just pops up right below it like that. Something subtle, but it's definitely neat and handy to have for other things. I've been trying to figure out how to do a triangle. I haven't had any luck with that yet. If somebody knows how to do that, let me know. If you wanted to scale all so that it just kind of fades in, you can do that. You can always make the height bigger. I'm sorry, the width bigger. You can make the height enormous. So it's kind of like a little mountain, like a mound. There's that. Yeah, so there's different options you could do for the particle. You can always have it so that you have it on the left-hand side. So if you want it on the left, and it's going to scale from the left, you can have it do that, which is a neat little effect. If you do a 10 pixel by 10 pixel, kind of just shows a little half circle. When it doesn't really work for that, so we'll just do inside, and it just shows a little particle to the right, to the left, just so people know where they are. Also, something that I found out working through this is that if you have this interaction, and some of you might have noticed this, that you aren't able to do this natively yet. I think they're going to patch this. I'm not sure. But when you're on here, and on a regular site, it doesn't show you what page you're on. If you go to a different page of the site, it doesn't show you what page you're on. And a lot of people want that reassurance to know, hey, I'm on the home page, or I'm on the about page, or testimonials. So what you need to do in order to have the particle effect, the interaction effect, apply to the current page is you need to add a little bit of a JavaScript. And the JavaScript is able to be found. I'm going to post a link, I think, for go under theme options, and then once theme options load, your CSS and your JavaScript, move it over to the left. So there's your JavaScript to do so that the interaction applies to the active class for your menu elements. I'm going to go ahead and post this link. Let me get it off of the resource website. And if you guys haven't looked at the resource website, I would highly suggest it. There's so many things for X to help you guys out. I refer to it all the time. Alright, here's the link. Just posted it. So just copy and paste that into your code, into your JavaScript, and it'll automatically add the interaction to the active class, which that's definitely something that needs to be there. Just a quick heads up. I don't know if it was a bug. I reported it in one of the early betas, and I don't remember what the response was, but I'm glad that they have a fix for it now, and I think that they're going to add it into a next release. So that's definitely something that just bugged the mess out of me. Let's see. Real quick, for that hero, if you're building one from scratch, which, I mean, why do that when you have the template that you can look at? You basically have 2 bars, and then the first bar that you have all your content in it, you just got to make that absolute instead of relative. Otherwise, it's going to sit on top of each other. Make it relative, make the background transparent, and have I don't need this. Make the background, you don't need the background anything, you can make that transparent. Click the advanced tab, add your image here, cover center, no repeat, it just makes it full, just makes it cover the whole container. Add your overlay here, so if you see I don't have a color, you can barely see any of the text. If I add my light blue overlay, it's there. And then inside of the container, they have great settings, and you got to tweak it a little bit because depending on how much wording or content you have in your container, it depends on your vertical height and your vertical width. So go ahead and mess around with the 25, 12.5, 43 is what I've got, and it pretty much works for the most part for what I needed to do. You can barely see a little bit of the green, the gray at the bottom, and that's what I needed it to do, so that we can have this be below the fold, and then from the reel down is all Cornerstone. Which header we are working on? Yes, and also which page. Because if you're editing a page in Cornerstone, if you're editing a page in Cornerstone, let's say you're editing the About page. It just tells you some content and some numbers at the top. So I think that they should change that to whatever the slug is of the site. Otherwise, sometimes you forget. I know it shows you up here, but unless you add that JavaScript, it doesn't show you. So that could be something that needs to happen. I was going to say something, but I definitely forgot. I don't remember. It'll come to me. Content. Yeah, it was something small too. What else does anybody have? I think we're wrapping things up. It's been a nice 2 hours with you guys. Love it. Let me know if you have any other questions. Real quick before I sign off, I'm happy to answer them. Just let me know. Let's see. Thanks, Katie. The allocation of pages. What do you mean, Karen? Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Donald. Myself. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Marvin. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Viet. Yeah, if you guys still have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help out. I've got all day. Pierre, this video will be posted in the group afterwards, and I think my computer's recording it. So I'll have that copy on hand as well, and it might go on xteamusers.com for those who are not part of the group can see that as well. Thanks, John. Let's see. There was definitely something else I wanted to check out. Oh, real quick. In the X Pro and under settings, a lot of you have noticed that if you go to the site and do /X, that it will automatically prompt you to log in, or if you're already logged in, it'll automatically go to the header builder or the launch section. In order to turn that off for security, just go to settings under X Pro and just click enable for the hide access path. That's something that I am going to always turn on when I start a site, just because it's another way people can get into your login screen, especially if you have it hidden and you don't know about this. So definitely, if you want, enable that option. If not, I mean, it's a quick way to get to the builder, but it also could be dangerous. So definitely check that out. We're going to have the URL fixed. Okay, cool, Rick. They did confirm that? Or are we just hoping, really hoping? So I didn't have it enabled, so I just went ahead and enabled it. That's what I wanted to say before everybody headed out. Let's just see some of you on the live stream. Let me know if you have any questions. If you, I'd be happy to make a build or a header or a footer if I have the capabilities. If you have a specific site that you want me to see if we can copy. Oh yes, we did not cover that either. So ThemeCode made it awesomely easy to have different headers for different pages. Underneath of your header section, and I have multiple pages here, so this is going to work great. So right now I have two headers. You see, this one's the main, and it indexes just the front page. This one's a copy of main. I can't rename it yet, but it'll be one-off pages, and this indexes all of the pages. So right here, if you click on it, don't click edit, just click on the actual main header. It'll show you a preview, and over here on the side you can make it so that it's for a certain page, for the front page, for all your posts page, or all of your pages. And if you have custom post types set up, for example, I do, they'll show each of the custom post types here for you to check out. And I have a great site that has finally been restored back to normal after a couple days of fiddling around with it, and the glitchy scroll on mobile has been fixed as well, so I'm happy to say that. But you can just assign different pages. So example, this one's a front page, copy of main is set to all pages, so you can check that out too. If you want it to just be for your shop page, you can do that. You can do individual products. You can do individual products as well, and individual post types. So if I go to headers on this page, this page has a lot of post types on it, which is why I want to show you. Copy, this is the main header. So this is assigned to just the front page only. So the header is everything from here at the top all the way down to the bottom of this image. That's the header. And if I go to copy of main header, which once I can rename it, I will, it goes from the top to the bottom of this white. And this is for all pages, all of the races that they have, and all of the testimonials that they have. They don't have any post page or anything like that, so I just assigned it to here. If I wanted to make this global, I can make that global here and click that, and it'll be for everything. You don't have to click all pages, all front page, all races, everything. You just make it global, and it just sets it to everything, which is great. So you can see that I can set it to a per page here, or a certain race or a certain custom post type, or a certain post in general. So I hope that covered your question, Donald. It is definitely awesome to have that ability. Because, for example, if you're having like 3 different sections of your site for 3 different services, and maybe you have 3 different logos for it, you can do that with ease. You just have to make 3 different headers. It's definitely awesome. Definitely awesome. Yes. So this is one of my first X-Pro sites that I built, and I started it while I was in beta, and we just finally showcased it now that's all been released. You can have pop-ups in the footer, which is awesome. It's great for like a terms and conditions, so you don't have to add another page. Things of that nature. So it's definitely a great tool. I love X-Pro. I'm glad that the guys at ThemeCo have worked so hard on this. They've really done a great job. So the logo to hang down, basically I positioned it absolute, and I'll just show you how I did it. Thanks, Karen. I'll catch you up on Slack. So Jason, the logo hanging down is actually much more simple than anybody probably realizes. So I started with their template of doing the standard fixed middle that they have, and then I just tweaked it myself. So you start out with that, and then I added the image in the middle, and I have the image here, and then I added a class, main logo alt, because it's an alternate page, not the main page. And I added the CSS right here for the main logo to have the main logos for the homepage one, so you can ignore that. But here's the alternate one, and I had to add the in class important because it was messing up in beta. I wonder if it fixed. No, it looks like it's still broke, so you have to do important. Otherwise, it shows up weird when you hover. And then you just add your CSS as needed. And then what I did for the logo is, where is it? All right, so my border, my box shadow there, I had that. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So I don't have a border. Everything is set inside of CSS. So if I get rid of this, you can see that it's just an image. And then I have this container. Where is it? I'm trying to find out where I did the negative. No, I didn't do a negative. So I did the image, and I just turned off this so that it doesn't scale, I think. And then once I did that, I just added the custom CSS to do the margin top, because if we didn't have the margin, you can see that it just doesn't look right. So I added the margin, added the border on bottom left and bottom right, so that we just get this round effect here. The padding is just so that there's a little bit of space between the edge and the logo. The box shadow, as you can see, this tiny bit of a shadow right around it, and the background. A lot of people have been asking me why I did not do a shrinking logo. A, I didn't remember how, and B, it's not that bad on mobile, in my opinion. But, and also when you do the hang down logo, you have to add a gap or else your content's going to go underneath of it. So I added my gap, and I just did it to pretty much the bottom of the logo, Jason, so that my content was right below it. and it looks pretty good the way I'm thinking. So if I wanted to do a scroll, sticky bar on scroll, I can definitely do that. I think might mess it up a little bit, but I'll have to do a little bit of finicking around for that, just to see what's going on. But I like it the way it is. Pop up in the footer. Oh, that's real simple. That's awesome. Here, let me show you. So in the footer, we have the logo, the copyright, and the race search. The race search is just a widget that I have configured. That's why I was able to get this down here. So I've got my image, and here's all my copyright information. You can see the entire, yes, Jason, the shadow is the CSS. And I can post that if you want. I'll go ahead and post that in the comments. The copyright, so the content area modal, that's what the pop-up is. And then I have my two texts. And I was mentioning earlier about the short code for the year. And you can see that being used right here. So that year is taking care of some functions, some script in the functions PHP file, the child theme, so that it automatically updates every year. But for the content area modal, when you click on it, it pops up. It's real simple. I just added all my text there instead of a paragraph tag. The toggle, I just have the text turned on, and I turned the graphic off right here. So you don't have to worry about having a thing, a graphic. You just have the text, so that it just says disclaimer. You can have icon only, that's fine. That just didn't fit the bill for this setup. The setup, and then you can do modal customize. You can make it so that how wide it is. So I just did 80 EM. The base font size, so you can change any of that. So you can change it to be 30 pixels, 30 pixels. A little big, so we'll just keep it at 716. The content overlay, you could choose in the back what color you want it to be, whatever color you want. You don't have to have any color. I chose a color. Black with a little bit of overlay. So there you go. The close button. So the close button up at the top right, it's a little subtle. You can make that bigger by going to the close size and dimensions and making that 3. It's huge now, which I actually might keep it that way. The padding for the sides, you can make that more or less, whatever you want. There's a border if you want to have a border. Basically all the same that you can do. The radius, you can make it round. You can add a box shadow if you want. An inset box shadow, whatever you want to do. It really, sky is the limit with this. Jason. I mean, John. John's the one that wanted the pop up. So yeah, there's no exit intent for the modal. Somebody asked me that. That's all convert plug. You got to use that for exit intent for pop-ups. Can it be inside the modal itself? I don't think so. It just has. I think it has to be. I think it has to be outside the modal. I don't think it can be inside the modal unless you do some position absolute maybe, and do a little bit of custom CSS for that. But natively, no, it cannot be inside the modal. John. Let's refresh that so it doesn't save. Let me go ahead and post it for you, Jason, CSS for the header, so you can get That should be good for you, Jason. What else do you guys have? Just some of you lurking around. You guys are just skulking. There's a lot of hype with this video. I hope I delivered. Let's see. If no one has any other questions, and I know Themeco said that they're going to be posting more videos throughout time. I don't think they have any set times on those or set dates. Thanks, John. I'm glad to hear that. Good to hear, Donald. I know they're going to be posting videos, so that's going to be great. A great helpful tool. Once you go to the community, once you go to the knowledge base for Themeco, they have so much information there for everything, and they're starting to post more and more about the X Pro and things of that nature. Make sure you guys, if you're upgrading, back up or do it on a staging site. Don't be that guy. A staging site's so simple to make. You can do it on a subdomain name. Use all-in-one WordPress migration to copy it over to the staging site. Donald, I'm on 1.0.3 release candidate 1 on a staging site, and it is pretty good. The accordions work. There's a couple of different little things when you're using a slider on the builders, as you can see in this. There's just a couple of little bugs there, which have all been reported to Themeco. So if you see here, as I'm sliding this, it kind of glitches out a little bit. So other than that, and other than the bar refreshing sometimes, I think it's pretty stable, in my opinion, for the sites that I'm using. But it could react differently based on the plugins that you have installed on your site. So not every site's the same. For example, I was able to upgrade this site to X Pro from 4.6.4 with not one problem. This is just a basic site. It's got a couple of third-party plugins on it, but I had no problems at all upgrading the site, which was great. And I've updated about 6 of my sites to 5, and those all worked great as well. Granted, they only had about 6 plugins, and they're pretty much all stock, and that worked fine. But yeah, it all depends on your configuration. The latest 5.0.1 I hear is pretty good, and 1.0.2, the 2 ones that are out without the release candidates, those are pretty good. And I know they just did the 2 release candidates inside of the forum, and I think that's like an open quote unquote beta before they release the actual one. So for my hero images, I always usually do a minimum of 1920 wide pixels, and you can still get a pretty decent small file out of that, usually under 200 kilobytes or kilobits. Kilobytes, yeah. So I usually do 1920 as my minimum. Sometimes I can do 2880, but usually nothing smaller than 1920, just so it looks crisp. If you're gonna hide it underneath an overlay, a transparent overlay, then you can be a little bit more lenient because you'll have that color to distract you. For example, this media, for that here I have 2048 by 1366, and it's 382 kilobytes. So it is a little big, but once I get the Speed Guru to speed up this website, no one's even going to tell a difference. Yeah, so that's just what I have, and this just came stock from Adobe. I was able to do that, downgrade it from their 6,000 wide to 2048, and it worked out pretty good. But usually nothing lower than 1920. You just have to think about what sizes. I mean, if you're going to use a hero image on mobile only, you obviously don't need 1920. You can get away with maybe 1200 or maybe even 900 wide. It depends on what device you're going to view it from. But this is the main desktop one, so I have to make that big. Let's see. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Hope that answered your question, John. Mainly all. Where's the CSS for that? You pasted above. Sorry, I missed the part. It's below. Let me pin the comment so that you can see it. Just some pretty normal CSS, pretty simple. The border bottom left, right. That's just a little off the ordinary. A lot of people probably didn't even know you could do that. I sure didn't for quite some time. But that should help you out, Brad. What else you guys got? If nothing, then I'll be on for a little bit more today. I'm always around in the group. Tag me in a post, tag me in a comment. I'm pretty quick to answer any questions you guys have. If I'm near my computer, I will definitely help you guys out as fast as I can. If I'm on mobile, I'll let you know. Just let me know if you guys need anything else. This video will be posted in the Xtheme users Facebook group after we go live, after we finish going live. And then I believe, like I said, my computer's recording this, so I can actually maybe put it on YouTube or some sort of video service. Put it on xthemeusers.com so that people can reference it there. Thanks, Marvin. And if anybody needs anything else, just let me know. It was great talking with you guys. 2.5 hours of greatness. I hope something got through. I want to do another one of these videos later on after we can do some header exports, and maybe to dive into more other things with the header and footer builders, and maybe some other content. Just let me know what you guys are thinking, and we can go from there. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of the day. Let me know if you have questions, and have a great holiday weekend. Thanks, guys.